guys, welcome back to another episode of Everyday Bubbly. I am your co-host Taylor.
And I'm Allegra.
And we are so happy that you're here. This is the final installation of our 3-part series on money. As a reminder, for episode 1, part 1, we talked about spending money, the most fun thing to do with money.
The easiest thing to do.
Definitely.
With your budget.
So we talked about budgeting, we talked about spending. In the second installation, we talked about making more money and saving. And then here in part 3, we're talking about more like long-term saving, investing. I will be honest, this, like we've been saying this entire time, like we are not experts in any 3 of these. We are just talking from our own experience. And of these 3 buckets, I think we are the weakest in investing by like a long shot.
It's still the newest, I think, to us. So today's episode might be a little bit shorter, but we have also, as a treat, been looking into a future episode of having someone who's in the investing world, a female in the investing world, possibly be on our podcast. So possibly stay tuned for that. But we'll give you the basics and what we each are doing in that realm. So
how we approach it. So that's what we've got on the docket for today. But first, Allegra, what are we drinking?
So you might think, Allegra, I thought you weren't drinking wine right now. And you would be right. I'm not. And this is not wine, even though
Trixie.
I like to trick my brain into thinking that this is. But everything in a coupe glass looks like it could be wine.
Truly.
So no, today we're drinking a favorite of mine from Austin. This is Texas Keeper Cider. This is their #1 blend. It's their flagship blend. And it's made up of a variety of apples. There's a couple on here that I'm not familiar with, but some that you might recognize. The Honey Crisp, the Fuji, the Rome Beauty. I love that. So it's a collection. It's a super balanced dry cider. And it's made local here in Austin. So I'm a big fan. It's been, curbing my wine appetite while I've been doing this kind of, it's not a cleanse, but, cutting it out of elimination. So yeah, I've been enjoying it, and it's in a cute little bottle that you can reseal and keep in your fridge. Pick it up at your local Central Market or H-E-B.
I think a lot of time when you think of Austin ciders, you think of Austin East ciders, which is delicious, but this is so different. I think just like how wine has like obviously so many different like varieties. This is a really cool example of like how cider can be so different. So cheers to that. I love a little Texas Keeper moment.
It's so crisp and refreshing. It's going to be really good to carry into the summer months as it gets hotter. I feel like this, like you can drink this when you're out on the lake, when you're like out like at a, traveling to beaches. You can just, I don't know, cider is just a pretty well-rounded bevy.
Yeah, very versatile. What are we cheersing to? So I am cheersing to, you got a little bit of a rundown of this just now actually, but I actually had an amazing weekend. For everything else, like I had an amazing weekend at this bachelorette party for one of my friends over the weekend. It's a friend who has been living out of the country for the past couple of years and recently has moved back to Austin. She's getting married next month, and we were able to get all of her girls together for a bachelorette party this weekend here in Austin. It's crazy. She had 9 girls. And usually I'm like, ugh, anything more than 6, like you start to get a little bit of
it's like
tension.
A lot of people, yeah.
But we all got along so well. Like luckily I've met every single person who was there before. So no strangers, but they was all just like such good vibes the entire weekend. There was no drama. There were only happy tears, which is the best kind of tears.
It's good, yeah.
And it was honestly like just a really, really great cup filling weekend. Just getting to be with a bunch of people that I really enjoy, and like, even though it wasn't for me, obviously not celebrating me, it felt like we were all getting celebrated because we all got to like, it was just like such a good, positive weekend. And I think it's hard, especially after our friendship episode series, sometimes it's hard to get a good group of girlfriends, like a group in your 30s, like things start to like fade out a little bit. But we all had such a good fucking time.
I know, you gotta really like cherish and hang on to those moments when you do get to bring your like squad together, because like you were saying, as you get older and people move apart or people get busy with life and jobs and stuff, it can be harder for you to like get together with like your core group. And I think, weddings and bachelorette parties and birthdays, like capitalize on every moment when you can bring people together.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about celebrations.
Yeah. And one thing that came out of it was like, we need to do more just fucking girls trips.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
so cool that we got to do this for Barbie and she like got to be our like mainstay center pole for this. But like, there's nothing stopping us from doing this exact same thing whenever the fuck we want to.
Oh yeah.
And like maybe
100%.
with less of a theme.
We just need like an everyday bubbly like girls retreat and we're just celebrating no big celebrations.
I think we absolutely need to have that.
Actually, it's like our next free weekend.
Yes. Honestly,
we got some time in between that. So,
but it was just like such a fun, heart-filling weekend. Fun. Yeah, it was really, really great. And I think that's probably I've been on a lot of really fun, interesting bachelorettes where I've had a great time. But this one was, because there were no strangers, even though it came from all walks of Barbie's life, like her childhood, like babyhood, best friend, her cousin, like, luckily enough, I just had met all of them. So it was just so cool to have all of these different facets of your life and they all mesh so well together.
That seems like a testament to Barbie.
Honestly, yeah, it really is. Good job, Barbie.
Good job, Barbie.
Good job collecting a good group of girls.
Go, Barbie.
What was your cheers of the week?
So I have two. So one is this past weekend, Adam's family came into town. It was a short and sweet trip, but it was so much fun. His dad is just so awesome, but he's just such a goofball. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, Adam, it's gonna be you. And
are they a lot alike?
I mean, to a degree, but sometimes like his dad can be like a little spacey, and luckily like Adam is very, I would say, grounded. So alike but different, and it was just so much fun. He's so much fun though, and we had such a blast. He brought Adam's stepmom with him, and they stayed here at the house. So I love hosting people. So that was a lot of fun. I had traveled to Colorado on Friday for work, and so by the time I flew in and got my car and drove back to the house, they were like grilling on the back patio, and we had wine and steak, and we were listening to music, and we stayed like up way too late drinking, and then we did an escape room the next day, which we solved with 22 minutes left. So I'm like, we are geniuses.
Round of applause.
Apparently.
I've never done an escape room, and I want to.
Oh, you would love it.
I think I would be so good.
You would be so good. You'd be like annoyingly good.
That's what I like.
I'd be like, save some for the rest of us.
I want to do one so badly.
Dude, we should do that.
Let's do it.
It's so much fun. You can have like up to 8 people, I think. So we'll have to get a group.
My parents got us a gift card for that in 2019.
You never used it?
We never used it because the pandemic happened.
Oh, shit.
And then we just like forgot about it.
Oh, but it's still valid.
Sad. I don't know. It's been 2019.
I don't know. I used an anthropology card that I got in high school last year.
I'll look into it. All right, so what your cheers was that?
That's one cheers. And then the other cheers, because I just could not pick, is that in less than 2 weeks, I will be in the sacred holy ground of Disneyland. I can't wait to go back.
I am speechless. Guys, do you remember when Allie had not been to Disney World or Disneyland, and she was like, I think I'll like it, but like we'll see. And this bitch is literally cheersing to Disneyland now.
I'm so excited. It didn't feel real until I like got our tickets the other day, and I was like, okay, it's going. And I'm like, we have 24 hours. Actually, less than that, because you can't go to the park for 24 hours. We have like 12 hours maybe.
For both?
Yeah.
Oh.
We got the Genie Plus. I'm using my disability pass. We are just gonna bing, bang, boom.
I love
many
that.
things. And I told Adam, I'm like, we were like in bed one night, and I had my computer because I was like doing some vacation planning. And I'm like, we have to make a plan. We have to make the top rides, and we have to decide which ones we're going to first and where we want to go eat at in between. He's like, you're a psycho.
You guys, literally January has turned over a new 2024. Allie is a Disney adult.
The fact that Adam is just as excited, like,
I love
makes
that.
me so happy.
You guys became Disney adults within the first 3 hours of that trip.
Love it.
Like we picked you up and we went straight to Magic Kingdom, and I think you were all ready by the time you got your first sip of Starbucks in the park and you saw the castle. You're like, I'm in.
Done.
And then we saw Chippendale first thing.
I mean, that was within the first
45 minutes.
Yeah, within the first hour for sure. And I was like, I did not realize I was going to see them soon. I thought I was going to have to starstruck.
You were starstruck.
So I'm really excited. That's happening
I love that.
in less than 2 weeks on Monday, the 29th. So.
Are you guys staying at a Disneyland hotel?
Mm-mm. We booked a Airbnb that's kind of at the halfway in between LA and Anaheim. Mainly because the following day, Tuesday, I'm going to get a tattoo in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I'm like, I actually found this really cute Airbnb that was like right in Anaheim. But then it would have been an hour to go back to LA for the tattoo. And I was like, ooh. So I found a place that's like 30 minutes to the park, 30 minutes to the tattoo.
Easy breezy.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, that's so fun. Cheers to that.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Cheers to my Disney adult girl.
I'm like, do I get more ears?
I will say this was the first time in a while that I had not gotten ears. I like to get a pair of ears because they're just like a fun memory to have.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get a new pair because I don't know if we're going to go to Galaxy's Edge, even though they have one in Disneyland. I just don't know if we're going to have enough time to do
I think you should get, I don't know, like, what's your souvenir choice going to be for Disney? I also tend to get a shirt because I like to like have the shirts. Yeah. I like to think that they would be so cool to like pass down one day.
I have no idea. But I'm going to take my backpack.
You have to take your backpack.
Taking my backpack, and I'm gonna possibly get some ears. I'm going to get something. I'm going to get one piece of merch.
Or a pin.
But I'm already like struggling because I'm going to be packing for 2 weeks in my
carry-on.
I'm going to check a bag because I'm flying Southwest. So I'm going to do it just because I'm like, part of me thinks I can do one bag for like the vacation and one bag for the work stuff.
Yeah. So and it's hard because you have like 3 different vibes that you're doing while on this one
Luckily,
trip.
Like in between work and vacation, I'm going to be staying with a coworker and she's like, you can do laundry. So I am going to take advantage of like washing like underwear and socks and like basic shirts and stuff. But I'm still, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. I might have to like text you to be like, okay, what would you do? Capsule wardrobe me for, for 2 weeks. Luckily, the weather is very similar though.
That's good. That's good.
I won't have to worry about that. But anyways.
I love that.
Lots going on. That.
So, investing.
Making the most of your money.
Yeah, long term too. So, I think you are the newer of the two of us to investing. So I think it'd be cool to like get it from your perspective. Like, how do you, now that you're just starting to dabble, how do you look at investing and like what made you take the dive?
So I've been, I would say, a bit resistant to investing, mainly because it feels like I'm looking at a language I do not understand. There's all these like abbreviations, there's things rising and falling, and like you see in the movies, like people are freaking out about the stock market and like losing all their money, and it's been very much like, ooh, I don't even have a lot of money to begin with. Like, I'm not going to put it in anything risk adverse. I'm just going to keep it in my bank account and I'm going to have it when I need it. As I have gotten more revenue and more income, I have decided, actually, I think I saw a TikTok that was like, if you take this money and invest it here, in 5 years, it'll be this. In 10 years, it'll be this. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, I could have been doing this like 10 years ago and had that, you know? So that kind of woke me up to the idea of it doesn't have to be scary. You can invest and not be crazy risk adverse. There's options for that. Now I'm still trying to like learn the lingo and learn what's available to me, and still trying to like digest it all, I would say. But I'm definitely at the point where I'm like, okay, I have a little bit of cash and I'm wanting to see it make more money cash on its own so that I will be comfortable when I'm at the age when I don't want to work anymore.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is with investing, and I totally agree that it's very complicated. It's like it literally is a different language, and if you
I feel like I need the book like Investing for Dummies.
honestly, I feel like I've read some of it. It's still confusing. It's still like fucking gibberish, and I don't understand why.
Like, give it to me at a kindergarten level, please.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah.
I think the thing with investing is, especially off the back of last week's episode where we're talking about saving, you can only save so much. We mentioned SoFi, for example, has a really good interest rate, that 4.6% APY. Investing, you can get, on average, 8 to 10% return year over year. So that's like double the amount of money that you would be getting from just keeping it in a savings account. Your money's just not growing, and it's not working for you. It's just kind of like existing.
Yeah.
And think about, like, with even using that high yield saving account like we do in SoFi, interest, like inflation, is higher than what your APY is. So realistically, at the end of the day, you are still technically losing a little bit of money based off of inflation. Even though it's still $100, like $100, $104 goes significantly less next year than it will this year. So investing is really what you have to do to kind of to explore your long-term wealth. Like I said, I am by no means an expert in any of this. So do not use this as like a guiding light, not as a full-on source of truth.
More so we're going to share resources that are more of experts that we use to
inform our own decisions.
Yeah.
I think the biggest way that most people know about investing, like, yes, there's like the day trading, stocks and bonds and like all the things you see in like Wolf of Wall Street.
The New York Stock Exchange. I'm like, what is that?
What is this? But most people probably think about investing in terms of like retirement savings. So we mentioned Roth IRAs last week, 401ks. Those are retirement funded or retirement savings. 401ks obviously are coming from employers. Roth is post-tax dollars.
And then there's also regular IRAs too.
And then there's regular IRAs. And I think there's a different 401k that like is a self-employed. It's a weird combination of letters and numbers that mean jack shit to most people. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's when I think I really started understanding the concept of investing was with my 401k through work. And being able to see how much it can grow. One thing, if you have a Roth IRA and you're putting money in, I know that you've said that you've done this before, like put money in it. Make sure that you're investing it, because otherwise it just sits there.
I know.
And nothing happens.
And that's me. I'm like, this is like my first contribution, and I logged into Fidelity, which is the app, website, bank, whatever that I use, financial institution, and I'm like, now what?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I'm exploring right now and hoping to share with you guys through this conversation of like what makes the most sense for that.
Yeah. And I think first thing that I entered investment world through was through retirement savings. And then from there, I'm like, okay, well, like if I can do this with all of my money, like why should I not?
Yeah. And
instead of going straight to individual stocks, which is the stressy part, there are these things called ETFs, which I'm gonna look it up in SoFi. I don't know what ETF stands for, but essentially it is a collection of stocks.
Is that like the S&P 100 or whatever?
Stuff like that, where they like kind of
don't
average.
Come for me if I got that wrong, because I don't know.
I actually don't. That sounds right.
It sounds so right.
It sounds very right.
Yeah.
ETF, is an exchange traded fund. So basically it's like a little grouping of individual stocks and bonds that you can like put a little piece in all of them.
And I think that the reason why those are a good option for people who are starting is because they are less risk adverse, because there is more options in that one pot that you're putting it in.
So now you're like getting the average of all of these as opposed to just like one.
Like if one doesn't do well, but another one's doing great, it's gonna even it out.
So you use Fidelity, you said. I actually use SoFi for that too. I'm all in on SoFi.
So I started a Fidelity account 4 years ago before I even knew about SoFi. And then I kept seeing the little thing that was like, if you start up with us, we'll help with this. And I'm like, damn it. And part of me is like trying to figure out if I should move it or not.
I originally had Charles Schwab. and then it went to Fidelity, and then I transferred to SoFi just because I've talked before about how I am low maintenance to be high maintenance. I want all of my things to be in the same institution if
That
possible.
would probably stress me out less, even though the reason I did Fidelity was because my dad was like, this is what we use.
Yeah.
I can help you with it. But now I'm like, I mean, do you get penalized if I move it out?
No, you just have to make sure that you move it, and there will be plenty of steps on SoFi, and I can help you walk you through it. But if you transfer it straight from one institution to another without ever like cashing it out, then you do not get penalized for it.
Okay.
If you cash it out, you'll get penalized even if you put that money exactly back into something else.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
So that's been my biggest thing.
That's great because I agree. Like having it all be in one place in one app that I'm already using to check my banking statements. Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And kind of going back to something that you said about like the risk adversity and kind of a theme about this entire thing. That's why we started with spending before we went to savings, because you need to be able to really have a handle on your spending to have a handle on your saving. And you need to have a handle on saving to some degree before you can start investing, because the thing with investing is even though there are less risky options like these ETFs that we're talking about, it is still inherently, there is some risk involved.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't put any money into investing that I'm not okay with, like maybe not coming out with 100%. You're not probably going to end up with 0% of what you put in, but like there will be fluctuations, and you have to understand that you have to look long term, and you can't be stressed
I wouldn't put my emergency fund in investments, like unless I knew it was in a place that I could pull that money as needed with no penalty, and also that I wouldn't lose it in the blink of an eye.
Correct. There's other options actually for, like, you wouldn't want to put your emergency fund, but say you're saving for a wedding soon, or you're saving for a kid or your first house or something like that. Something that you know that you'll want to access this money in the next 3 to more like 5 years, but you don't need access to today immediately.
Kids college fund?
So that's a different thing.
Okay.
So we'll come to that.
All right. We'll get to it.
But if you want to, you can invest money if you want to have something within the next 3 to 5 years. And the tool that I use for that, and we've talked about this before, is Ellevest. And Ellevest is an investment platform designed for women. We were saying at the beginning that like we're not told how to speak the language of investing.
God.
And I don't think that women are like obviously women are just as good with money as literally anybody else.
Women, I think, sometimes are better with money than men. No offense, but
no, I very much agree, and I think that.
But we're not taught these things, and it's definitely a male-dominated industry in terms of financial
advisors,
wellness, advisory, all of it, financial planning. 100%.
So Ellevest is this platform, or also kind of a financial institution that I discovered a few years ago, and they are very female focused. They are female founded by Sally Kruchek. She was an investment banker for a really long time. She realized that like women were kind of getting the short end of the stick, founded this new institution, and they have been so instrumental for me in terms of like teaching me more about investing, either through their Instagram. I don't know if they have a TikTok, but like also their newsletter. I think
they do.
They do have a TikTok? Okay.
Which I was going to say, like, I know sometimes TikTok has misinformation, but I've actually seen a lot of really good, I mean, that's what I just said. Like, that's what got me like back in like, oh, investing is not this big, bad, scary thing.
Yeah.
Because if you see a little snippet of someone breaking it down to the bones, to the facts, you're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So,
so I actually have an investment account also through Ellevest in a more short term that I've kept my emergency fund in, like a long-term emergency, or just like grow wealth. They have different goals that will have different investment strategies.
And it's an app or a website?
It's both.
Both, okay.
And you can pull your money out of there with no penalty. So when Nick and I decided to purchase our second home, I'd had investment money just like hanging out that I was just investing for the long term. And I actually took that money out in order to help us put the down payment on our second home. So like you can invest without getting penalized. It's just there's a little bit trickier routes that you have to get through sometimes. And Ellevest makes it so, so easy. This is not sponsored. They don't even know who the fuck we are. But
Yeah.
I truly, truly love Ellevest as a platform and just as a resource to use.
I love it. I feel like I want to check them out. And I think that sounds like a great way to look at saving, like you said, like saving for a wedding. I don't know why. It's recently just been top of mind because I'm like, oh gosh,
We're
I'm
at that age.
33. And like, if I want to get married anytime soon, I'm starting with 0 right now. So I need to like figure that plan out soon so that I don't feel like I can't have the wedding of my dreams because I didn't prepare.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a great way. Like they have, like I said, special goals so you can invest towards a wedding. And like, again, you have time. If you take it out before that 3 to 5 year mark, there's nothing wrong with that, obviously.
You're probably not seeing your greatest return, but you're also not going to be penalized for it.
So I think it's a really cool way to, again, take advantage of higher returns. Like we said, even a high yield savings account, you're not going to see max 5%, but on average, and you have to remember, on average, so not every year, but on average, your investments will see an 8 to 10% return.
That's awesome.
And it can be way higher. So it's just a cool way of being able to get a little bit more money back in your pocket and have your money, again, work for you as opposed to you working for your money.
So I have a question with that. When I used to see Adam and things that he was investing in, he would like be checking it nonstop. Do you feel like you're checking your investments like all the time?
I literally never check them.
Okay.
I will check them maybe.
I was like worried that I would be like a little like obsessive about it, like every day. Like, oh, it's went up this
I think I used to when I first started, just because it was like new and shiny, and I was like, oh my God, there's so much volatility. Like, what's gonna happen?
I know. He was on like the Robinhood was the app he used.
Nick uses Robinhood as well.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I'm up this much. And the next day, like, oh, it's down. I'm like, that would stress me the fuck out.
Yeah, I
want to like do it and not look at it and just
That's the way that I do it. It's not going to help me to know that it's like gone up or down today.
Yeah.
When a year from now, that doesn't mean the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that is super fun when it's like, again, a normal savings account where like the money is just continuing to go up. But it stressed me out too. 'Cause like my Roth IRA, I would see fluctuate so much. I'm like, oh, my money's gone in my Roth. There goes my future retirement. But like,
it's fine.
Then tomorrow it's up 10%. Like, what does that even mean?
Like, I gotta pull it out. No. So that's,
I think maybe so Nick also uses Robinhood, and he has a bunch of like individual companies that he had bought stock in just for like fun. Mm-hmm. And I have a few of those in SoFi as well, but like I don't.
Do you have Disney?
I actually do think I have Disney. I think I do actually have Disney.
Do it just because I'm like.
They were having like low, like it was their like a low price for their stocks. I was like, you know what? It's gonna go up. It's Disney. So I do have a few individual stocks just for like shits and gigs, but I don't consider that like my main investment strategy.
Okay. Because I feel like that'd be too stressy for me. As someone who's a newbie, a beginner, I want to focus on something that's pretty predictable, pretty stable, risk adverse, and just dip my toe in.
Yeah.
But I hate the thought that I have this money sitting that's not doing that. It's literally just earning like its interest rate. You know?
Yeah. I think there's way more that you could be doing. I think you want to buy a house probably sooner than that like 5-year mark. Yeah. But like I think maybe for a wedding fund or something like that might be a good place to save it in there.
Yeah, I think it's a good starting point. And like, you know, if I get it'd be interesting to like almost put like the same amount of money in both my high yield savings and my stock, and just if I do an Ellevest, you know, stock plan or whatever, and seeing how they compare over the quarter. Cool. Yeah. Maybe like a little experiment or something.
Yeah, that's really cool. You should definitely do that.
So, okay.
And I think, again, with Ellevest, you can automate your contributions. So like my contributions, I mentioned in the first episode, I have like a special select allotment of money that goes straight into one account, and my Ellevest contribution comes out of that account as well. So again, that's making sure that my money is low maintenance to be high maintenance, because like all of these things are taken care of before I ever see my like pile of fun money.
Yeah.
Like everything, like my investments are out, my Roth IRA is out, like my 401k, all of those.
That's really smart.
Yeah. It just makes it a little bit easier for me personally. Like I understand managing money, but I also want to make it as seamless for myself.
Well, and I think
possible.
that's why, like, it's something that I'm looking into with my job right now, is because right now, when I get my paycheck to one place, I have a hard time putting the money into the wedding savings bucket because I'm like, but I have all this other fun stuff happening. So if I just did it and I didn't even see that money,
it makes it a lot more palatable.
Yeah.
One other thing about investing, if you are looking into very long term, maybe outside of your Roth or 401k. 401k, we'll say they usually will invest that for you. So it's a little bit less hands-on, which is good. Honestly, very good. But there are also target date funds. Have you heard of target date funds?
I have not.
So similar to an ETF where it's like a collection, target date funds are set up in terms of when you want to take this money out. They're long-term savings. So you can set, if this is 2024 right now, you could set a 2044 target date
so
fund.
just in time for the next solar eclipse.
Just in time for the next solar eclipse.
Which is going to pass over Disney World.
You guys, I think Allie is a woman obsessed. Allie's planning her Disney trips 20 years in the future, you guys.
Can you imagine? We'd be so old and I'd be like, at Epcot, be like, fuck you.
We'd be in our 50s.
Can you imagine us being at
me.
Epcot watching the solar eclipse?
I mean, honestly,
let's do it.
Okay. Let's buy a ticket now.
Can we?
No.
I'm going to put a calendar reminder down.
Let's do it. No, we probably should. How fun would that be? Remember when? Why would we be talking? We're only in our 50s. We would not be like that. Why would we talk like that?
And if we're all like, we're still together with our partners, and it's like, remember when we all went
to Disney together? I think we'll go back to Disney together before then.
2045? Yeah. Anyways, continue.
But you can set a target date fund in term for the next solar eclipse.
Yeah.
Where it actually will do some of the so there's different levels of like aggression that you can undertake when you invest, like moderately, whatever. If you're doing it through SoFi or Ellevest, you can choose how aggressive you want to be, and you have the opportunity to like change that aggression level.
More risk, more reward.
Exactly. But more risk, more fucking risk.
More
like that's
risk.
The point. But when you have a target date fund, it will start out being riskier because you have most time to like make it up. And as you get closer and closer to that target date, it like dials it back down. So like in 2042, maybe you have like moderately conservative or like very conservative.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's another investment strategy. If you are looking for something very long term that you do not want to have to worry about, you don't want to be like an atom checking every day, and you've already invested the max contribution to your 401k and Roth IRA, I would suggest a target date fund.
Okay.
I don't know that SoFi offers those, but a Fidelity or a Charles Schwab almost definitely will.
Gosh, so many options.
There's so many options. One thing that I have found the most convenient for myself, and I think we were very lucky to live in an era where this is even possible, are just robo-investors. That's what it's called when it's automated. You're not working with a person on the other side who is like being that like switcher, changer, rearranger for you.
Is that what the stock exchange is?
I think. I don't really know much about the stock exchange.
I've only seen Wolf of Wall Street. It seems like they don't do shit there.
Yeah, they just like make it up as far as I can tell. I honestly I understand a company going, those are publicly traded companies. I was working at a company that went public and we like got announced on the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, they get to ring the bell.
So like I like get it, but like I don't know how to like use that in my
How do the people
life.
who work there every day, what do they do?
I honestly could not tell you.
Yeah.
If you're a stock exchange girlie, let us know. I have no idea what you do.
I would love to have you on the podcast to just give us the 411.
Yeah, I don't know what a stock broker
because it seems
does.
so interesting.
Or an investment banker. An investment banker, I guess, is like what a robo-investor
they
is.
tell you like you have this much money, you should put it here, here, here.
Is that like a financial advisor?
I don't know.
You guys,
What's
we
the
know
terminology? I
we
feel
know things, but
stupid.
we don't know things.
And yet, like, I was forced to learn trigonometry in school and not this. Like,
Yeah, what did
this
the Pythagorean theorem ever do for me?
is so much more impactful. This, how to do your taxes, how to, like, buy a house. Like, these are the topics we should be taught when we're growing up. How to balance a freaking checkbook. Like, all of those, not that we have checkbooks anymore, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it makes me so mad that we're learning these silly things that seem important, but I'd never use those in my day-to-day job.
No, I agree. I think that it requires us to, not like you and I, but like us as a community, like you guys listeners too, to like be the ones willing to talk about this.
And I feel like so lucky that like I have parents that have kind of shown a light to me. I have a partner, I have a best friend that like all are interested in this. But if I did not have a community of people around me, I would have no idea about any of that. And so I really strongly feel about free resources and putting it more on social media. It doesn't matter what income bracket you're in, you're probably on social media in some regard.
Yeah.
So if there can be more information, correct information spread about how to take care of yourself and take care of your finances and take control of your finances, that's just like, I feel like I'm going to have a new like passionate hobby of like advocating for that.
Yeah. I think it's so important for, I think I said this last episode, but like at this phase of our lives where we have money to work with, like we are kind of out of that like fight or flight, paycheck to paycheck living. And if you're not, like, we are very recently out of it. Like we have been living in that plight and like we totally understand. But like now that we have a better understanding of our finances and we're getting married much later in life than previous generations, like we have more time.
And having kids later in life, you know, because things are not cheap anymore.
No.
But if you can, that's why I'm like, if I could have been taught some of this when I was still in school, still in a required school, not even college, but just like in high school. Primary education, public primary education, where everyone has access to that. Then I feel like you can set yourselves up for a better future.
One thing I think with investing that I hope you're getting away from what we're talking about, like, yes, it seems very confusing. There's a lot of letters and numbers and like weirdness.
I'm still confused, so yeah.
Same. Clearly, we didn't even know a stock advisor, what stock broker?
Investment banker?
Yeah, that does.
Know.
But there's so many resources out there. We mentioned LFS. There's way more on even
the
TikTok.
one that I've been following on TikTok is Tori Dunlap. She actually has her podcast, The Financial Feminist. I've slowly started to grapple with some of her stuff. Again, I love a little TikTok, a short little clip of something that I can then put in my brain and hold on to for a rainy day.
Yeah, I used to read in the peak of blogs. I read The Financial Diet. Like this is honestly 2014, 2015. I would read The Financial Diet and it was all very like women-focused ways to approach your finances. And it was so good. And the biggest thing that I've learned in all of that is like time in market beats out like having the best strategy. So if you have $5 a month, if you have $30 a month, I'm going to be so honest. I started out with $50 a month, just putting in my investment account and like leaving it and not looking at it, not stressing about it. Not obsessing and just like letting it go because $50 today in 30 years will be worth so much more than me stressing about trying to max out my Roth IRA. Yeah. We talked about this last week, how like Allie did a great job of like fully contributing to her 2023 Roth. And I was like, that's just not in the cards for me. But you know what? The fact that I was able to put in anything will help me down the road. Anything is better than nothing. Even if you're starting out with what feels like pennies in the grand scheme of things.
Anything is better than nothing. Yeah. Literally could be $10 a month.
Yeah.
That adds up.
And then
$120 a year. Then you're going to see that 10% each year. That's going to keep growing.
Yeah. That compound interest is really like what does it. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but I follow a few other like Instagram accounts too. And we'll make sure that like we said, we want to put together a whole post with like all of our favorite resources in it. But there's a lot of information out there, and we're not experts by any means. We are fumbling through this just like you guys are, but we can all learn together, and we can all like make this magic together. And women are earning more than in any generation previously. Like, yeah,
let's capitalize on it. Let's go.
So yeah, that's what we have to say. We just want all of us to have a better understanding, and like, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have a friend who like who you think doesn't know as much, like open a dialogue. You don't have to be like annoying and bossy about it, but like just fucking talk.
Just talk about it. The more that it's talked about, the more that it seems more approachable and less scary.
Yeah. And that's on investing. We went all over the place. That's the cider on investing. We definitely went all over the place, and I know that was we
might have gotten you more confused, and I'm sorry if we did, but it is a complicated topic with a lot of different legs to kind of work through and go down. So again, I'm hoping we're talking about possibly having someone that's more of an expert in this field, kind of break it down to at a kindergarten level for us. So stay tuned on hopefully that manifests soon.
And we want this to be like just a conversation starter for y'all. If you have any questions for maybe an upcoming guest, just let us know, and we'll make sure that we ask those. So thanks y'all for being along with this journey. And maybe it's a good thing that this part of the conversation was confusing, because it can be
it's not supposed to be like black and white, like that's investing. No, it's way more gray than that.
Yeah. So cheers to investing.
Cheers to that. Cheers to seeing our money make money.
And ABC 1, 2, 3s.
And the Disney stock.
The Disney stock. Honestly, cheers to the Disney stock. They are doing very well.
I wonder how she's doing today.
I actually get notifications from SoFi about it, which is very I did not set those up.
Okay, that's step one. I got to move my stuff over to SoFi. So,
Allie, what is your song of the week?
Okay, I've been so excited about this song.
Okay.
Because I've heard it multiple times, and every time it comes on, I think some of you guys know, I'm a new wave girly. I am obsessed with that era and genre of music from the 80s. New wave, it's very poppy, techno, emo, all combined in one. Think New Order, think The Cure, think, Depeche Mode. That's new wave. So I heard this song. I think I either heard it on a TikTok or on the radio or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, what 80s band is this? And it wasn't. It's like a new artist who is just embracing, I think, that style of music. But it is, and it's actually an artist that I had previously heard and was like, oh, he's trash.
Oh, wow.
So apologies to Mr. Conan Gray, because that is the artist. And the song is called Never Ending Song. Okay, I did have it right. Never Ending Song. And it is so freaking boppy, catchy, new wave, like coded, that I can't get it out of my head. Oh. And it like comes on, and I get so happy when it comes on. So
I don't think I've heard this.
That's my song of the week. I think you will when you hear it.
Okay.
But I'm so excited to have it on the playlist.
I'm here for that. My song of the week is Training Season by Dua Lipa, but the Chloe Calais mix. I don't know who Chloe Calais is. I thought that was Colby Calais.
Yeah, like Colby Calais?
For the longest time. No, it's Chloe. So I don't know if that's like just a DJ name. But Training Season by Dua Lipa. And it is so fucking good. Like, I think you're a BB Rexa.
I love BB Rexa.
I thought you were a Dua Lipa girl.
I love Dua.
Okay, you also love Dua?
I love BB. I really appreciate Dua. And Adam's like obsessed with her. She's like,
you were the first person I thought of when I heard this song.
Okay.
I think you would love it. It is a summer song.
Boppy.
I know that we're literally in mid-April, but summer is knocking on Texas's door.
The mosquitoes have come out today. They are attacking my household. I'm really pissed. All over. I'm pissed about it.
But
can someone tell me how to eliminate the mosquitoes in my yard because we're using the mosquito bits. We're doing the things.
It's just not working. It's also been very humid lately.
I know. The rain brings them in.
Yeah, that's my song. Training Season by Dua Lipa. Chloe Khaled. I've been seeing the name Chloe everywhere recently. It's so strange.
Chloe's a good name.
It's a great name. I love the name Chloe.
Yeah.
If your name is Chloe, love ya.
You're a cool girl.
All right. Well, those are our songs. That's investing. That's our cheers.
That's our episode.
That's our episode. Ciao, y'all.
Bye. We'll see you next week.